Hi, welcome. My name is Michael. Today I'm going to be showing you how to install exhaust system on a Type 1 Volkswagen engine. Today I have some J-tubes and a aftermarket muffler that I'm going to be installing. Let's get to it. I'm going to move you around a little bit, but hopefully it's not going to be too shaky for you. The tools that you're going to be needing are I usually use anti-seize. You can find that at your local auto parts store. And then these are the, I don't know what to call it, the heat riser from the muffler. These are two exhaust gaskets, and then these are the screws for the exhaust gaskets, and this is for the air riser. Type 10, or excuse me, 10 millimeter bolts for these, and then also the 13 millimeter for the nuts for the exhaust. And then I also have a screwdriver and some other items. And I'm going to set you up so I can get a little closer so you guys can see what's happening with the engine. One day I'll have a different setup, but for today, this is kind of what I'm going to be doing. Alright, so couple things to think about when you're putting your exhaust on is, so this is the rear of the engine, the pulley side. There is a exhaust port here and exhaust port on the other side. So the muffler goes on this side, and then on the other side we have a similar situation, and that's on the back side. So I'm going to be showing you this one side while I do the other side as well, if that makes sense. And then hopefully you'll be able to see kind of what happens when we do the muffler. Alright, I forgot I usually use a smaller Phillips screwdriver as well. Sometimes this larger one isn't the greatest. So what I do is I start off by installing the anti-seize lubricant to all the nuts, or excuse me, the bolts coming off of the intake, or the heads here. And I just kind of gob it on a little bit. I'm always sorry about going in front of the camera there. I think the heat probably gets off some of it, but I don't know. Okay, so I put that on, and then I usually go around and install the gaskets next. Sometimes they kind of go on funny. That one went on pretty good. This one went on. I'm a how do you say it? Nitrile glove wearer, so I usually wear nitrile gloves when I'm doing my car stuff. Alright, I'm going to put a rag kind of on the top of the engine there. I'm going to try to get it so you can see more of the engine. Alright, and then next I do my J-tubes. There's two different sizes. One J-tube is longer than the other, so I'm going to grab the other one. And so one of them's kind of slightly longer, and so that one, the longer one, goes on the 3 and 4 side. With the J-tubes, I usually have, sorry about going in front of the camera, I usually have I usually put the one nut on the top, and then wait on the second one until the muffler gets on. Alright, so here we go. Yeah, you're not going to be able to see it. I'm going to take it off the stand here again. Okay, so I put the... I need to move these wires out of the way. So I just set it on, and then I grab my washer. So I put a washer on, and then I put the nut on. I don't put it on very tight. I just kind of leave it loose like that. Later on, we'll put the other one on, and I do that similar to with the muffler as well. Just because oftentimes the muffler and the holes and everything don't line up, and so you gotta install everything loose, and then you tighten everything up. So here's the muffler that I'm going to be installing. Sorry, can't really see it very good. Enough room here. I'm gonna whack my cabinets there. So regarding this bench I have here, I have to move my engine forward a little bit. So I can actually get the muffler on. It shouldn't do anything to the actual what you call it, system. So you have to make sure the J-tubes are in the right holes before I push it on completely. I'll talk to you about the seals down on the J-tubes later on. And then now I put the one 13mm nut on the top sides, just like we did with the J-tubes on the other sides. And then we'll do the so the reason why I do it loose is because of the next part that we're going to be doing. So the next part is these heat risers, and when I put the carburetor on and the intake manifold, I purposely didn't tighten the boots because of this purpose. Oftentimes I've tightened them up and then had to untighten them over and over. So I learned early on. So right now, if you can see, the holes don't line up. Looks like on the one side, and then this one, they don't really line up either. So what I normally do is put one bolt in there, and then I tighten it up, and then put the nut on underneath it, or yeah, underneath it. Sometimes it works, sometimes not, but it just this process takes a little bit of wiggling, finessing, and a lot of patience. Cars. When you're working on cars, there's a lot of patience involved. I've learned. Sometimes the easiest tasks don't go like you thought they would, and so you just have to keep on doing it until you get it. I've always all right. So what I did was I got one of the nuts on there, and I left it very loose so I can manipulate and move the intake manifold back and forth if I need to get the other bolt on. Oftentimes I wait to tighten one before I put the washers on, and so what's going to happen now is I'm going to figure out a way. Sometimes, oh, I just noticed something, and every engine's different, and so when I lift on the muffler, the screw hole comes in line with the rest of each other, I guess. With the stock mufflers, oftentimes they have a pre-threaded hole where you don't have to use the nuts and washers that I'm using. You use a just the bolt. Okay, so that is awesome. So the other side, I have to figure out what to do. I'm going to kind of rotate the engine a little bit. It is a little bit more messed up than the other one, so I'm going to kind of tighten up the nut on the muffler. I think what I'm going to do is kind of work on it and then tighten things up, and then close the video. Oops, sorry. Close the video. So I'm going to use my little screwdriver to line up the holes and line up the gasket. And with this one, if I stick, I'm going to show you real quick. Hopefully there's enough light over in this area. If I stick the screwdriver in one hole, it moves the other one. So that's fabulous for us because I could put the nut. So I'm gonna grab the camera one more time and show you what I'm talking about. So what happens is, if you take a peek at the nut, if I move this, the nut falls, and so pretty sure I could almost put the other one in without manipulating the other hole. All right, one more and put all the other nuts and bolts on, which with this situation, awesome. This actually went really well. I've struggled sometimes on these, and it would take me hours to figure out. Maybe not that long, but sometimes it takes a while to do it, and I don't know why, but it's just okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten up these 10mm nuts. And so I'm going to tighten up these nuts and bolts, and then I'm going to actually install the 13mm nuts for the muffler. And so all I did was I kept the I still don't know what it's called, but the hot air return to the manifold, I left those loose because when I tighten up the remainder of the exhaust nuts, I want things to move around, and I want to have them move around pretty easy, just because that is in the past it's created a problem when I would tighten up everything and not tighten up other things. Excuse me. It just created a problem. So I'm going to put, sorry about going in front of the video again. One day I'll have enough room so I don't have to. Hey, and sometimes your exhaust nuts will be underneath the I don't know, the pipe of the tubing or whatever, especially right here. If you could see, like this nut is really difficult to get to. Oftentimes you can use a socket to tighten things up, but okay, so what I'm gonna do is quickly tighten these up, and so when we tighten these up, and everything's just gonna be hand tight, and I want to make sure the shroud, the tin doesn't go behind the I don't want the tin behind the exhaust, because I'm always worried it's gonna create a gap, and then there's going to be an exhaust leak when you first start the engine, and then installing the muffler outside of an engine is actually a whole lot easier. I've installed a couple mufflers while the engine has been in the car, and it's fun, to say the least. And so what I normally do is just kind of tighten it up so it's nice and snug, and it feels like there's no movement in the nut. And then I come and do the other side the same way. And as soon as these are done, I go to the back and tighten them back up as well. And then the only thing I forgot was those the seals for right here in between the J tubes and the muffler there, which those are sometimes fun to put on, and sometimes it's not completely you can't do it completely 100% the way that you want to do it, so you kind of have to play around with them and get them to work with what you're trying to do. Alright guys, so I forgot about the donuts that go on the J tubes to the muffler, and so that's the only thing that's left for this engine. And so after these 13 millimeter ones are tied in, I go through and tighten up these 10 millimeter nuts and bolts. And then once these are tightened, there's a lot of steps. Once these are tightened, I can go ahead and take my Phillips screwdriver and tighten up the clamps on the end castings, or the intake manifold. Alright, so that is going to be pretty much what I'm going to be showing you in this video. It's one of those things where you prepare to do the video and you try to get all the parts and pieces together and always forget something. So I'm going to install the donuts and everything on the exhaust. Thank you so much for watching, and again I apologize for the bouncing around and the pauses. Thank you so much, and I hope that you learned a little bit of how you can in your garage at home install a Type 1 muffler, and in this case J-tubes. There's also heat exchangers, which are a little bit different, but not too much different from installing the J-tubes. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. And then once again, let me know if there's anything pertaining to the engine or a Volkswagen that you would like to see in the next coming videos. Thank you so much, and have a great day.